What if your deepest, most desperate prayer could be answered? Not by God, not by luck, but by a simple cup of water drawn from a new well. What would you wish for? Wealth? Love? A child? For the people of the dying village of Amani, the miracle was real. The well gave them everything. But they forgot to ask the most important question of all: who weeps to fill it? This is a story about the cost of remembrance, and the terrifying truth that every granted wish is just a debt transferred to someone who can no longer speak their name. The village of Amani was dying. A 3-year drought had cracked the earth like a skull and baked the hope from its people. Their old well was a pit of dust and memories. Their leader, a man named Ezekiel, was a pragmatist whose faith had evaporated with the last of the river. His flaw was not malice, but a deep, quiet despair that made him willing to accept salvation from any quarter. Their salvation arrived in the form of a stranger. His name was Enoch. He was a quiet, gaunt man with eyes the color of a twilight sky, who appeared at the village edge one evening as the red sun bled into the horizon. He carried no tools, only a simple staff. "I have heard your land's cry," Enoch said, his voice strangely fluid. "I can bring you water. A well of such abundance and purity, it will not only quench your thirst, it will quench your heart's deepest desires. Speak a wish as you draw, and the water will make it so." Ezekiel, desperate, laughed a bitter laugh. "A wishing well? We need water, not fairy tales." Enoch simply walked to the center of the village, to the shrine of their forgotten ancestors. He drove his staff into the parched earth. "Dig here. 7 men. 7 days. You will find your miracle." "And my price?" He looked at their hollow faces. "Is only that you remember the source." They dug. On the 7th day, as promised, their shovels struck not rock, but a clear, gushing spring. The water was colder than ice and sweeter than honey. The village erupted in joy. Ezekiel, in his first act of hope, filled a gourd, wished silently for a full harvest, and poured it on a near-dead maize stalk. By morning, the stalk was tall, lush, and heavy with ripe corn. The miracle was real. But the village seer, an old woman named Keturah, who had said nothing during the digging, approached the well. She did not drink. She knelt, dipped her fingers, and brought them to her tongue. Her face, already a map of wrinkles, collapsed into profound grief. "This water," she whispered, her voice carrying over the celebration. "It tastes of salt. It tastes of sorrow. It is not of the earth. It is poured into the earth." Enoch, who had been watching, nodded slowly. "All water holds memory, grandmother. This well taps a deep aquifer." Keturah stood, pointing a bony finger at him. "There is a lamentation in this water. 1,000 lamentations. You have not found a spring. You have opened a drain. But who listens to an old woman when miracles are flowing?" They drowned her warning in cups of cold, wish-granting water. The wishing well of Amani became the heart of the village. People came with gourds and prayers. Malachi, a poor farmer, wished for a cow to help his family. The next day, a healthy heifer wandered into his compound. Shoshana, scorned for being unmarried, wished for a husband. A handsome trader from a distant route decided to settle in Amani and asked for her hand the very next week. The initial miracles were beautiful, perfect. But Keturah was right. The water was salt. Not enough to ruin the sweetness, but a faint, bitter aftertaste that lingered on the tongue like a regret. And the wishes, they began to twist. Not in their granting, but in their aftermath. Malachi's new cow produced milk richer than cream, but his children, after drinking it, began to forget small things, their grandfather's name, the words to a common prayer. Shoshana's new husband was kind, but he had no past. He could not remember his childhood, his family, or where he came from. When asked, he'd just smile, his eyes empty as a dry well. Ezekiel, concerned but unwilling to lose the miracle, went to Enoch, who now lived in a small hut by the well. The wishes, there is a cost you did not mention. Enoch looked at him, those twilight eyes endless. I said to remember the source. The source is memory. The water is drawn from the pool of Mnemosyne, the tears shed by the forgotten dead. Those who have no living soul to remember their name, their laugh, their sin. Their tears hold pure potential, the last energy of a vanished soul. The well uses that energy to reshape your world. But energy cannot be created, only transferred. Ezekiel's blood ran cold. You are using the dead? I am recycling sorrow, Enoch corrected gently. Their forgotten tears grant remembered joys. A fair trade. But when you drink, when you wish, you take a piece of that forgetting into yourself. A small piece. You forget a minor thing. Or, someone forgets a piece of you. The horror began to crystallize. A young boy, after drinking, forgot his own mother's face. An elder who wished for pain relief forgot his own son's existence. The granted wishes were paid for with stolen memory. Then, the well demanded a more direct payment. A woman named Tirzah, desperate for a child, wished upon the water. She drank. She conceived. But when the baby was born, it did not cry. It stared with ancient, knowing eyes. And it could not remember how to suckle. It faded away in days, as if its very life was a forgotten thought. The well's true nature was revealed. It wasn't just using old tears. It was creating new forgotten dead. Every major wish drained a soul somewhere in the unseen world completely, erasing them from even the memory of the cosmos to fuel the miracle. Enoch watched it all, a silent gardener tending his gruesome crop. The well must be fed, he would say. For every great joy, a great forgetting. One night, Ezekiel found Keturah by the old, dry well. She was chanting, and in the dust at its bottom, images formed, faces, hundreds of them, weeping silently. The forgotten. The price. He is a cartographer of sorrow, Ezekiel, Keturah said, her voice hollow. He maps the tears of the abandoned dead and sells them to the desperate living. We are not drinking water. We are drinking ghosts. And soon, we will join them. A sickness spread through Amani, but not of the body. A sickness of the mind. The forgetting. People would wake up and not recognize their homes. Husbands would look at wives as if they were strangers. Children forgot how to speak. The village, once bound by shared struggle, was now a collection of isolated, confused souls, adrift in a sea of granted wishes they could no longer recall making. The physical world began to reflect this spiritual decay. The lush, wished-for crops grew, but their fruit, when eaten, tasted of dust and ash. The homes built from wished-for wealth developed cracks that wept the same salty water as the well. The very landscape was becoming a monument to erased memories. Ezekiel, watching his community disintegrate, made a fateful decision. He would not make another wish. He would break the well. He took an axe and marched to the stone rim. He raised it high, to smash the coping stone and collapse the shaft. But Enoch was there. He did not move to stop him. He simply spoke. If you break it, you sever the connection. The transfer will cease. Good. Ezekiel roared. The transferred memories, the borrowed energies, they will snap back, Enoch said calmly. Every wish will unravel. Not slowly. All at once. Your harvest will turn to chaff in an instant. Your children, born of wish water, may simply unbe. And the debt of forgetting? It will return, a flood upon your minds. You will not just forget. You will drown in the memories of every soul ever consumed by the well. Can your sanity hold 1,000 lifetimes of sorrow, Ezekiel? The axe trembled in Ezekiel's hands. This was the trap. They were addicts, and withdrawal would kill them. He lowered the axe. But Keturah had a different plan. She approached the well not with an axe, but with an empty cup. You trade in forgetting, she said to Enoch. But what of remembrance? What if someone chose to remember? To take the memory back? Enoch's serene face flickered with something like unease. The process is irreversible. The tears are spent. The water is the vehicle, Keturah argued. But the memory is in the sorrow. What if I drink, and instead of wishing for a new thing, I wish to remember a specific soul the well has consumed? A profound silence fell. Enoch stared at her. The energy would have nowhere to go. It would seek a vessel. You would not just remember their life. You would hold it. Your mind would become their tomb. You would carry their death, their regrets, their entire forgotten existence. You would be haunted unto madness. Keturah's eyes were steady. And if I did that for them all? If I drank and wished to remember every soul you fed to this well? Enoch actually took a step back. You would shatter. Your consciousness would explode like a star. You would become a living monument of pain. A screaming pillar of salt. Keturah smiled, a sad, beautiful smile. She turned to Ezekiel. Lead them away from here. Do not let anyone drink again. Let the well run dry. Before Ezekiel could stop her, Keturah filled the cup. She looked into the water, and instead of a wish, she spoke a name. Not her own. A name from the dust vision, a forgotten name. Lemuel. She drank. Her body went rigid. Her eyes rolled back. She collapsed, convulsing, as a lifetime not her own, Lemuel's joys, fears, loves, and death, flooded into her. When it passed, she was different. Older in spirit. Her voice, when she spoke, held a faint echo. One, she whispered. She refilled the cup. No, grandmother. Ezekiel cried. This is the only payment it understands, she gasped. And she drank again. Neema. Another convulsion. Another soul absorbed. She aged a decade in minutes. Enoch watched, his twilight eyes wide with a horror that mirrored their own. He had not anticipated this. A will strong enough to choose remembrance over desire. A love strong enough to become a living cemetery. Keturah drank a third time. a fourth. Each time, she took a name from the well's depths. Each time, she absorbed another forgotten history. Her body withered. Her hair turned white as bone. But she kept drinking, turning the well's power against itself, transforming herself into a vessel for the very souls it consumed. The well's water level began to drop. By the 12th cup, Keturah was barely human in form. She sat by the well, a husk, her breathing a raspy wind through a canyon of grief. Her eyes, when they opened, showed not a pair of pupils, but a swirling constellation of countless points of light, each a captured soul. She had become the rememberer. The village, though still cognizant, watched in terrified awe. The forgetting around them had stopped. Some even had flashes, a strange memory of a marketplace they'd never seen, a lullaby in a language they didn't know. Keturah was leaking the memories back into the world. Enoch fell to his knees before her. His arrogance was gone, replaced by a terrified reverence. You are undoing the calculus. You are creating a paradox. The energy, it must be balanced. The balance, Keturah's multi-voiced echo spoke, was always a lie. You took. I am giving back. The dead is not to the universe, Enoch. It is to them. She gestured weakly to her own chest, holding the thousands within. The well began to crack. Stone fractured with a sound like breaking bone. The sweet salt water bubbled furiously, then turned a thick, dark red, the color of heart's blood and final regret. Enoch screamed, a sound of pure, unearthly anguish. His form began to waver. He was not a man. He was a construct, a spirit bound to the well's function. As Keturah dismantled its purpose, so too was he unmade. I only gave them what they wanted, he wailed, as his body dissolved into a mist of silver tears that fell onto the dry earth and vanished. The well gave one last, violent shudder. And then, with a final sigh of released pressure, it dried up completely. Not a drop remained. Just a deep, dark, cold hole. All the wishes began to unravel. Malachi's cow let out a mournful low and turned to dust. Shoshana's husband, the traitor, looked at her with sudden, terrified recognition, not of her, but of his own forgotten life, before crumbling into the same silvery mist as Enoch. The lush fields browned and died in moments. But the people did not forget. Instead, they were overwhelmed. A cascade of memories, both their own and fragments of the thousands Keturah held, flooded their minds. It was a tempest of identity. They fell to the ground, clutching their heads, weeping, laughing, screaming as lifetimes washed over them. When the storm passed, they were different. Wiser. Sadder. Haunted, but whole. The forgetting plague was cured, replaced by a burden of terrible, sacred knowledge. They turned to Keturah. She was still breathing, but barely. A living archive. Ezekiel crawled to her. Grandmother, what can we do? How do we help you? Her many-voiced whisper was faint. You remember. You remember them. Speak the names I took. Lemuel. Nehemiah. Jael. Hezron. Speak them. Tell their stories. Keep them alive in your telling. As long as a story lives, a soul is not forgotten. The weight will lessen, spread among you all. She took one last, shuddering breath. The well is gone. But the thirst. The thirst for easy miracles will always return. Beware the man who offers water from an unknown source, for you do not know whose tears you drink. And then, Keturah, the rememberer, was still. But within the silence of the village, a new sound emerged. One by one, haltingly, the people began to speak. I remember Lemuel. He was a fisherman who loved the morning sky. Naamah wove baskets so tight they could hold water. They were building a new well. Not of stone and water, but of stories and remembrance. Amani survived. Not as a village of miracles, but as a village of historians. They became keepers of the lost. The dry, cracked well in their center was not filled in. It stands as a monument, a warning. They tell the story of the wishing well to every child, to every traveler. To remember the cost. But friends, the story does not end here. For Enoch dissolved, but was he truly destroyed? Or did he simply return to the deeper darkness from which he came? And what of the pool of Mnemosyne itself, that vast, hidden aquifer of forgotten tears? If one well could be dug, could another not be dug elsewhere? In a city thirsty for power? In a nation thirsty for revenge? The moral is carved from salt and memory. Every shortcut to glory, every miracle granted without sacrifice, is paid for with a piece of our shared past. When we drink from the well of easy answers, we must ask, who is crying to fill it? And what will we forget about ourselves in the swallowing? But what do you think? Was Keturah's sacrifice the only way, or was there another path? Could the well have been used for good? Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe to Safari of Tales and hit the bell icon. Remember to speak the names of the lost. Until next time, drink wisely.